everybody. So card number 2 today, and you can use either your MeiLang palette paints, which I love for you beginners. Number 1, it's a beautiful, fun little case, but it's got all these fun colors that are already pre-mixed for you. What I've just been doing is if one of these little pans runs out, you can really put any tube paints in there. I personally am using the Winsor Newton Cotman brand, which is the student brand, and I just refill them. That's one thing MeiLang does not sell the little pans individually, but for a beginner, it's got a lot of fun colors. Today, I think I will actually use my Winsor Newton palette, and I'm going to be using my number 8 Velvet Touch brush, which I love. It has such a nice feel, nice point. And I've been painting quite a bit, so my water is actually a little bit dirty. You really should have clean water all the time, but this is my Meeden ceramic, Too Well for water. Love it. It's very sturdy. It just feels like nice quality on my desk, and you wash and rinse. And I've got my little palette here from Miss Ceramic. She custom made those from me. And I'm going to be painting on, I've used these for probably 8 years. They're just the little Strathmore cards. What I love about them is they come with a really cool little envelope. Let me grab one. And the envelope has this little fun edge here, which it looks a little bit rough and ripped, and I love that. So I like these cards. I make all my own cards, and this works perfect for me. So we're just going to be painting, again, I paint these every year. We're going to be painting some little holiday lights. If you're good at calligraphy or not, you can maybe write something up here. Also for beginners, like I said, I'm using the Princeton 8, the Velvet Touched. It's got that short handle, great point, just love it. But these are about, Princeton brushes are anywhere from $8, $9 up for one brush. If you're a beginner and you don't want to invest in that, I have been using on and off these Degato brushes, which are awesome. And you get this whole set for under $15, and it's all the way from like a size 0 to a 9, so you can kind of play and see what size of brushes you like best. So that's kind of a cool little thing. All right, well, let's get started. I've drawn out my little Christmas lights here, and I'm going to use some of my favorite colors. So I've got some violet here, and I actually mixed it a little bit with my Quin Magenta. And I'm just going to go into the tops of my little light bulb here, like that. And I'm going to leave some white space down the middle because I want it to look like there's some shininess. And then let's see, what color should I do for, let's do a green light bulb. So I'm just using I think I'm going to actually use my more emeraldy green. Let's see here. See what this green is. So sorry. Let's see if I have it on the bottom here. I don't. I will find this color of green for you. I don't have my little palette thing here in front of me, but it's kind of a brighter green. And then just go in and using the tip of my brush, I'm painting, but again, I'm leaving some of that white space. Rinse my brush, and let's see what other color. How about a goldish yellow? So I will use Cad yellow. Just put that on here. Oop. And maybe just a tiny bit of gold or yellow ochre. Yeah, that's good. And let's go in and paint that one. Really just use whatever colors you like. And again, I'm using, whoops, I got a little mark on there. I'm leaving lots of white space so we get that beautiful, looks like a shine. And then, oh, we haven't got a red. We need a red. So I will do that. I'm going to do this one here. Now I'm actually going in with quite a bright, dark value. I usually go in with lighter values. And then let's see, for our last color, let's do a blue, kind of a turquoisey blue. Right here. Yeah, I think that's pretty. Pick up a little bit more paint there. Okay, now once this dries, because watercolors, so I'm washing and rinsing my brush. Watercolors always dries lighter. So now I can go into that kind of that quin magenta and that violet that I used and make it just a little bit darker value. And I'm going to do that kind of up here near the top. Actually, I think for that, I want a thinner line. So I'm going to lay my 8 down and just grab my 6 long round, the Princeton brush. Has a finer point because I want to do a little bit more detail here. And I'm mixing my quin magenta with my violet. And then we're going to go in and just add a little bit of darkness here. Using the tip of my brush. And not losing track of that bright, those whites. Okay. So there we go. Now I might just go alongside of those just with a damp brush and kind of soften those edges. And I might even end up picking up some white and going in there. I think that might be kind of pretty too. And then here we used a cad yellow and a yellow ochre. I'm going to pick up a little bit more yellow ochre and go in and just darken up the edges like that. Just up at the top there. There we go. I didn't want to, oops, color in all of that white because I want it to look like it's shining. And then let's go into our green. A little bit darker value. There we go. Now really we could have even started with a very light wash over this. A light wash of red, a light wash of all these different colors. But I went right in and started with the dark. Picking up some of that turquoise. Oop, got a little too much. Just tap my brush off. There we go. Just giving it some darkness around the edges. And that red, I think because I laid down such a dark color, I'm going to dry off my brush and pick some up just to create a little bit of like, look like a sheer or kind of a glass type look. And then let's go in here. If you don't have the MeiLang Metallics, which is their larger version of the small one I showed you in the beginning, it's the same colors, but they give you these metallics. And I'm just going to use some of that metallic for the little top piece, that little band that connects your bulbs to the string. You could use a yellow ochre or any type of gold here as well. And I'm just using the tip of my brush like that. Drawing some lines for those bands. And that's awfully pretty. Now for the little string or the wire, you could either use the tip of your brush if you have a pretty steady hand, or you could use even a pen, but make sure it's waterproof. And I'm going to use my Payne's Gray. So I'll make it a little bit watery. And then I'm just going to go in and draw that line using the tip of my brush. So anchoring my hand, holding my brush straight up, and I'm holding pretty close up to the ferrule to give me a little bit more control. And then I'm going to go in and start drawing the little wire. Like that. And then I'm going to go back and I will make it a little bit darker. Now I haven't got a steady hand, so as you see here, my because I don't want to rest my hand on where it's wet. So I'm always saying, you know, my hand isn't the steadiest, but that's okay. Gives it that organic feel and it doesn't look like an illustration. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that little cord with a darker value. So I just loaded my brush with more paint and I'm going to go in and create kind of this weaving. Because typically my cords, I just smeared that, aren't perfect. Again, using the tip of my brush, very light pressure. This is where that muscle memory comes in so handy for practicing your thick and thin lines. There we go. Look how cute. And the last thing I want to do here is let's see if my MeiLang has white. It does have white. If you have a white gouache, you can use that as well. But I'm just going to use the white in my MeiLang palette here. And I'm going to go over some of these spots with some white gouache. So right here, I think I need the gouache. Hold on, let's see, because this is a little bit transparent. So let me see if I can grab my white gouache. Hold on one second. Let's see here. Let's see what we got in here. This is a set I had picked up. Don't even know where I got it from, you guys. Let's see, it says Mission. Let's see what we got in here. I bet I have a white. Here's a white. Titanium white. I usually use Winsor Newton, but I think it's in my bag, my travel bag. So let's go in, make sure number one, it's white. Yes, it is. And that's going to be a little thicker and I think will show up better. So let me wipe up the white I put on here. And let's see what we can get with this. So I'm just going to, I don't normally go into my tubes like this either, but you know, sometimes you got to try things. Okay, here's some white here. So I've got that white on my brush, pretty thick, you guys, too. And let's just go in. Yeah, that's much better. Use the gouache. Definitely better. Yep, there we go. And that really brings out that shine. Although I did leave white in here, I left white spaces, but I think this even looks better. So grab your gouache and go in and just create some of these little white marks. Okay. So let's wash and rinse that brush. Let's see if we have anything else. I feel like I could go one more darker value. So I'm going to pick up some of that purple, that violet purple, my Winsor Newton. And I'm going to just add one more couple lines here. Yeah. That really made that pop out. I like that. Happy with that. Wash and rinse my brush, tap it off, and then let's get some of the green. And really the green doesn't need it so much. I think I did a pretty good job on that one. But as I said, watercolors dry lighter, so sometimes you need to go back in. Let's do a little bit on that red. See if we can get a little darker value there. Yeah, that brings it out a tiny bit. Sometimes just those tiny little touches can make a big difference. And then I think our blue's pretty good. Let's try a little bit of gold with that yellow. See if we can get that a little bit darker. I'm gonna also maybe add a little orange to that. So I'm gonna take that gold and add in a tiny bit of orange just to darken it up a bit. And let's add that in. I mean, you could really, sometimes I go at this forever and I just keep darkening up areas. Very thin line. Like that. Yeah, I like that. Wash, rinse my brush, and I think we're about done, but look at how cute that is. If you really wanted to, let's see how this would look. We could even do some little, maybe you don't have to do this, but maybe a tiny bit of shadow. Let's see what that looks like. So you could be done here. You could turn me off now, go on your way, and you would probably be just fine. But I'm going to pick up a little light value of that purple. So a lot of water. And let's see what happens if we create a shadow over here. So I'm going to use the side of my brush. So I want to get a little wider line. So I'm going to angle my brush to the right a bit and use the belly of the brush a bit and just go right alongside here, like that. See what that looks like. And then because it's a shadow, you don't really want hard lines. Now that is very faint. I don't even know if you could see that. Just pick up a tiny bit more. Oop, that was too much. So wash and dry my brush and pick that up, lift it up. So it kind of creates this wonderful little shadow. Let's do it with the yellow. So I will pick up a very watered down version of that yellow, very light. And let's just create a little bit of a shadow for this yellow bulb. Ooh, that is too light. I can pick up just a tiny bit more. There we go. And then I'm just going with water alongside it to kind of blur out the edge. And then our green, we'll go in there and pick up a very light value of that. Damp, rinsed brush. There we go. I think that's kind of pretty. It kind of makes it three-dimensional. Of course, you don't have to do this last little part. Wash and rinse my brush and then just pick some of that up. Yeah, I kind of like that. And then this turquoise, I'll pick up a very light version of that. And so it just adds some dimension to it. It looks like it's kind of shiny. Now this is spreading because that was wet. So I've got a dry brush and I'll just try to lift that up. Red is a little bit staining. So sometimes red is hard to lift up. I might even tap it off with my towel. Not going to stress about it. If it is, it is. That's fine. And there you go. How cute is that, you guys? I think that's really fun. And again, if you have nice writing, you could write Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, may you have a shiny Christmas. The last thing I might do is just take a little dark brown and maybe create some, this is really detailed here, so you don't have to do this. Maybe just create some little lines. This is just really extra. You don't have to do this. I think it looked fine before. Like that. But I actually really like this shadow thing I did. I think that's really fun. All right, you guys, I hope you try these Christmas lights. They're easy, and for me, I like the easier paintings because I make a lot of Christmas cards, and if I'm making them too detailed, they're going to take me forever. So I try to come up with just fun things. You could even do some splatters on this, some maybe little metallic type of stars or something like that. We could have even used some metallic on here just to give it a little extra pop. Let's see what that would look like. Here's some gold here. Again, you could have turned this off a while ago and been happy just with what we did, but let's add a little metallic. Oops, that didn't come off very metallic-y. And that might be fun. You know, just play. I think that's fun. All right, guys, have fun. Always play, always practice. practice those brush strokes. They're so important because the more you practice these thin lines and medium lines and thick lines, and these are our compound strokes where we combine the two, and your values, a dark, a mid, and a light value, you're going to feel so familiar with how to create those things that you're going to go to sit down to paint something and you're going to feel confident. You're going to feel like you can sit down and you can paint whatever you want. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day and give this a try. Bye.